About 6 years ago, I realized that I was going to die. I blame my kids for this. I was in the backyard with the sun on my face and a beer in my hand. Riley was 4 and Kale was 1. The two of them were rolling around in the grass, frolicking in the way that little ones do. Do you know the feeling when you can practically see a child growing older before your very eyes? It happened to me that June afternoon. Those precious little muffins growing up so fast. And it hit me all of a sudden that we're all growing up at the same rate. And that someday, down the road, eventually, I would come to the end of my trajectory. Around the same time, I enrolled in the master's program for architecture at the University of Massachusetts. Two things made me slightly different than my peers. The first was that I was older and had children, which meant I was laser focused and never ever going to spend the night in the studio. The second was that I came into the program obsessed with decay and decomposition. I don't know if it was my childhood playing in the forests of New Hampshire or the worm digging I did with my kids in the compost bin. But whatever it was, I wanted to try to weave these essential yet unappreciated processes together with architecture. For various assignments, I photographed dirt, collected roadkill, and designed homes heated by compost. And thanks to my dear, dear children reminding me of my own mortality, I also spent lots of time investigating the options for our bodies when we die. Specifically, I was looking at what the built environment does or doesn't do to support the dying and the grieving in our culture. What I found was that for an innovative society, we are really uninnovative when it comes to death. Cremation and conventional burial, which are the options most readily available in the United States, are wasteful and polluting, so that the very last gesture that most of us will do on this earth is toxic. But it wasn't just the fact that we pump our bodies full of formaldehyde-laden fluid to embalm our dead and emit carbon dioxide into the atmosphere to cremate them that bothered me. It was the fact that from the moment we're born, we move through this world soaking up nutrients from the sun and the air and the food in our water. This earth sustains us, and when we die, our bodies are full of potential. The problem is that our current funerary practices destroy that potential. It's amazing when things come together, isn't it? Back in architecture school, as I was wrestling with all of this, a friend told me about a method that farmers have been using for decades to dispose of animal carcasses. By simply covering a dead cow or horse in wood chips, the natural process of decomposition is accelerated, and in 6 to 9 months, a nutrient-rich compost has been created. In other words, the cow turns into soil. Composting is about crafting the perfect environment and letting nature do its job. By creating the right ratio of nitrogen, animals, and carbon, wood chips, and by adding oxygen, we invite the microbes and beneficial bacteria in. These tiny creatures, the same ones that embalming is designed to inhibit, by the way, break down tissue, muscle, bone, and teeth. Molecules are rearranged. A new material is created. The design challenge became how to take the incredible process of composting animals and turn it into something that would be appropriate for us as humans. What I've designed is a way for us to give back to the earth that sustains us. It's a system that transforms our dead into compost. It's a ritual for laying our loved ones to rest, and it's a model for a new type of architecture in our cities where we can both honor the departed and celebrate our place in the natural world. Thanks to a wonderful fellowship and the support of 1,200 Kickstarter backers, The design idea that began in grad school has morphed into a nonprofit organization. We aim to disrupt the entire funeral industry and make death care beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. It's called the Urban Death Project, and I might be a tad bit biased, but I think it's the future. My kids are 7 and 10 now. They just keep growing. We've lived in Seattle for 3 years, and I am so incredibly grateful to be here. If there's anywhere that human composting can flourish, it's in this sweet city. It's in this city where not composting your food scraps is illegal, and where our sculpture park displays a huge rotting tree on purpose. This is a city where people understand the power of the natural cycles and the deep connection that exists between life and death. So thank you for having me.